to the Adventure Podcast by BidX. I'm your host, Joie Roberts. Today's guest is William Gasner, CMO of Stack Influence, and William is a seven-figure seller. We're going to dive into how micro-influencers can fuel marketplace growth, strengthen your ad performance, and launch products without breaking the bank. So if you're an Amazon seller or maybe a Walmart seller looking for smart, scalable marketing strategies, this episode is for you. William, welcome.
Thank you for having me on.
You built Stack Influence because you were solving your own e-commerce growth challenges. Can you take us back to that and tell me what your pain point was that sparked the idea?
Absolutely. So, as you mentioned, been a seven-figure seller myself. Sold a variety of different products from cutting boards, jewelry, to teeth whitening products and toys. Along that journey, utilized a lot of different influencer marketing techniques, from working with celebrities, people with millions of followers, to the everyday average, say, creator with tens of thousands of followers, right? Or sometimes even only a few thousand followers, and doing different strategies around that. Now, on that journey, what we found was influencer marketing was consistently evolving. And a lot of the larger, you could say, influencer profiles that we were collaborating with, those kind of million, 5 million, 10 million profiles, really became kind of hit or miss for us. So sometimes you'd spend $10,000 and it would provide a fantastic ROI. You reached a huge audience. And then other times it didn't drive that many sales. And that really sucks. You put a lot of your eggs in one basket and it didn't pan out. And so what the strategy that always really worked well for us was these smaller creators. So work with 100 people with 10,000 followers each, right? You now have in total a reach of 1 million, but you're diversifying your risk across a lot of smaller creators, right? And so maybe a few of them didn't pan out, but as long as kind of the majority actually provided really good promotions for you, you were getting a much better bang for your buck. You were also aggregating. Smaller creators naturally have higher engagement levels. They have more trust with their audience. It's a more tight-knit follower base. And so because of that, you aggregate a much more trust and much more authenticity when promoting your product, which leads naturally to more conversions. So we just would get across the board better ROI when we work with these smaller creators. Now, the challenge we faced was, first off, you can't just work with 5 of them and think it's going to be a fantastic marketing strategy. You had to really scale it up. And at the point for a lot of our e-commerce brands, you don't always have to start with this, but we really wanted to work with hundreds or thousands of these creators in short time frames. And the first challenge we faced was finding enough people. And the second was actually managing them, right? Like it might be easy to deal with a collaboration one-off, but getting 100 people in a month or 1,000 people in a month to actually get your product, post on time, follow your guidelines, analyze those results, track all the metrics. It was an insane undertaking and impossible really to do. And so we started building out a lot of internal tools to optimize this. And it was a solution that didn't exist in the market. And some of our colleagues in the e-commerce world wanted to get their hands on what we had built because they were very impressed with all of the influencer collaborations that we were doing. And so we started kind of giving them access to what we had built. And then it really just snowballed into its own product. And that was 7 years ago. And we're now venture back, 20-person team, hundreds of thousands of creators on the platform and thousands of brands. And off to the races.
Well, congrats on your success. And you touched on something really interesting there in your story that I think all of us sellers, I'm also a 7-figure seller. I think a lot of us sellers face when we try to reach out to influencers on our own is they just don't respond.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean we're busy and it's a numbers game and you need as many out there as possible, but it kind of makes you feel burned when you're like, I don't want to reach out to influencers. So like on Stack, how do you make sure they respond?
Absolutely. Great question. So that was one of the biggest issues we faced when using a lot of the other platforms that existed, because the majority of influencer platforms charge you a big monthly fee. And then they have a database of millions of people, right? And so you think, I'm going to be able to get thousands of influencers if you have millions, right? But you're limited to how many people you can reach out to. And those platforms just don't have communication with those creators. They just have contact info. So you can think of it as for those of you who know what like Apollo or Zoom Info is like a database of information on some target. And then here's tools to reach out to them and maybe manage those relationships. But you very quickly realize that the amount of people who are interested in doing any given product at any given time or collaboration is very slim to none. And it takes a huge amount of follow-up to even get them interested, let alone get them through that entire collaboration process. So to solve that issue, what we built is actually a dedicated community and a marketplace platform. So instead of just having a database of people, we actually have this community of about 600,000 people now who do things, they're already pre-vetted. You're not just sending a message into the void. We're actually the platform's going to do the matchmaking for you. So you're going to set a goal, 100, 1,000 people, and the platform's going to set out to achieve the goal. No outreach needed from your side besides giving us to make sure that your targets are right? We want to make sure you're focusing on the right people, that your brand and your products are conveyed properly, that your guidelines are set in stone. But we wanted to solve that big issue where you reach out to 1,000 people and you get 2, and now you're stuck doing all this manual effort for really no output. So that dedicated community is really what solved that.
And the payments range, but I'm assuming, one of the big benefits is you handle the payments to
Absolutely.
influencers.
Yep. We handle all the payments, and then how we charge brands very simply is a flat fee per successful post. So you only pay when someone actually does the collaboration for you, right? Like, we don't want you paying for access to a database where now you have no guarantees of how many people are going to respond to you, let alone complete posts. Like, it's like you pay as you go. You want 100 people. We don't always get you exactly 100, but on average, it's 90% completion. So you might get 90 out of 100 in your time frame, but you only pay for 90, right? So it's a guaranteed system to pay as you go. Hypothetically, if you got one person, which never happens, but if you got one person out of 1,000 that you wanted, you'd only pay for one. So it's no risk, right?
And you get so much of your life back. Like, I have spent so much time. I mean, my first brand I built in, honestly, I'll say 2020, but 2017, I spent a long time just going through and doing mommy bloggers and making lists of 200 mommy bloggers. And then 2020, I did it again with my sports brand. And just not to really, I got a little bit, like a handful of benefit, but it was one of those things for me where I was so excited, like, okay, this influencer wants to do this partnership. This is going to be my home run. And then they post, doesn't really work. And then you just get disappointed. So
absolutely.
Let's touch on that, because it's not really a one and done type of thing, is it?
Absolutely not. Yeah. You want to extract as much value out of that collaboration as possible, and also ideally take it into the long run. And not just to pitch Stack Influence. Like, if you're doing this yourself, to your point, takes a lot of manual effort to build this up, but the strategy is to try to build this community of people who are like passionate about your brand, right? And then keep tapping into that consistently over time, because that one-off thing, it just doesn't really pan out. And you want that relationship, not only for good collaboration, and like for the right aesthetic, but like also for extended value. Like, our platform, for example, is focused just on what the industry calls product seeding, a product in exchange for a post, right? But to really incentivize people to continue to promote your product, promote on multiple platforms, create really good content, you want to possibly invite them or integrate them into an affiliate software, right? Where they're actually getting skin in the game, getting commissions from promoting your product. You might want monetary rewards for certain actions they might take. Maybe they go viral and get huge amounts of impressions and huge amounts of sales, like without even affiliate side of things. Like, you might want to reward those types of people for creating that. Maybe they created really great content that they now gave you rights to use that content or run ads with that content.
Yeah.
And that increases your ad conversions and your costs, CPAs and CPLs, to where you also want to give them maybe a commission of those types of sales, or just pay them more for that type of content just on the UGC side of things. So there's a lot of different ways that you should be leveraging these relationships. And ideally, you shouldn't think of it as just a one-off, or one-off value as well, right? because influencer promotions it's like word of mouth marketing. It can take time for that promotion to also convert a lot of people. You're getting more value out of that content that can build your brand and repurpose. And then those longer term relationships, like we've had people who kind of that first promotion was iffy, but then as we gave them affiliate commissions, they started producing more on other platforms, and some of their posts went viral, and like it drove this huge amounts of sales for us. And to your point, like you get discouraged sometimes when that first post might not convert anything, but over time it can actually become one of your best channels in marketing. So
yeah, and through Amazon, you can hook this up to the brand referral bonus program.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. So the Amazon side, whole nother discussion we can dive into. Majority of our clients honestly utilize our system right now for a lot of Amazon side growth, because not only does Amazon incentivize external traffic sales, so things that come from an influencer promotion or an email list, right, or a Facebook campaign, you could say, but they give you a reward for that, which is, for those of you who know this, it's called the brand referral bonus. They're giving you up to 10% savings in their transaction fees for just driving that sale that comes off of Amazon. So you can tie our platform into that. And the beautiful benefit to it is that external traffic sales help make your listing get more visibility, because you're giving Amazon the metrics it needs, the sales, the conversion data, et cetera, to tell it that, hey, this product might be on page 30, right? But look how well it's converting from all this external traffic. It should really be on page 2 or page 1, right? And because it's converting so well. And so by giving Amazon that data it needs to determine, should it place you at those higher positions? Once you're placed there, if you're also, and comes down to how quality is your brand, are you competitive? But if you're actually a good brand and you have a good price point, you're competitive in the market, all of a sudden you're going to start getting a flood of new sales because you have more visibility, and your ROI is going to spike. And if you can keep converting now at that new place, your influencer campaign may end, but your benefits don't stop, and your recurring revenue proceeds in time. So it's a fantastic tool for any of those sellers listening that are on Amazon and would really like, especially for new product launches, you want to increase that velocity to get up there. But even for existing listings that might be a bit stagnated, you need to push a little more extra growth on. It's a fantastic tactic.
Yeah, you want to jumpstart it for sure. If you haven't done it, it should give a boost. And we're always trying to lower our ad costs, so your organic ranking shoots up, lowers your PPC costs for 100%. Sure. And I do like it as a launch strategy, because that honeymoon period on Amazon is super important, and bringing in outside traffic. I'm a huge believer of, Google ads and any outside traffic, but just getting influencers to send it in from other platforms is so smart.
100%. Yeah, there's actually there's a few new Amazon patents that were just released where they dive really deep into what they call the cold start problem. It's kind of like them defining what the honeymoon period is. And the cold start problem is a problem where when a new product gets launched, how does Amazon determine where it should place you, right? Because it's a risk to place you at the top, because if the product isn't very high converting, you're taking away sales from something that is better, and Amazon's losing money. But if you don't place them there, right, and your product is one of the best in the bunch, and it could be really high converting, it's a risk for them not to test you, right? And so they do a few different things to figure out this cold start problem. They compare you to other products that are similar to yours with similar keywords. But the biggest influence is they need data, right? They need to know how many people come to your listing, what is their traffic, is their click-through rate. Not only is their click-through rate, what's your conversion rate? Do people add to the cart? Do they favorite? Do they add to a wish list? Do they buy? So all those metrics are taken into account. And so one of the best ways to really like kickstart or solve that cold start problem for Amazon is to drive external traffic. But the key, and this is actually really important, is not every external traffic is treated equally. If you drove a huge amount of traffic from Google and your Google ad wasn't very good, and your conversions were really bad on that Google ad, it's actually going to hurt your cold start problem, because Amazon's not going to realize, they're going to think that hey, it got all this traffic, but it does not convert well. So you want to not only drive traffic, but you also want that traffic to be converting, which is where we find influencers to be really effective because it's a trusted referral, right? And so we find overall conversion rates are much higher than even online ads because that's the whole point. It's more authentic, it's more trustworthy than any ad platform. And that's a really important thing for when you're first launching is you want to drive that external traffic, but you also want to be converting so that you give Amazon the data it needs to determine where to place you.
Yeah, that's really a interesting approach. Is it is more trusted, so your conversion rate will be higher.
Absolutely.
Because it's like you don't have to have the whatever it is now, like 5-10 touch points before they buy your product. It's like, I said to buy this, you need to buy this. And I'm even on these like group texts with all my like fitness friends.
Yeah.
And like I could just put any link in there and they will all buy. And so if I were, an influencer on your platform, I would just be like, click here, buy this.
100%. I mean, we like to say influencers have also had this negative connotation to them. I think the Kardashians ruined a lot of it. But it's like, you think of them as sellouts, and the real influence in your life, we like to think of it as word of mouth marketing at scale, right? And your point was really, really valid, is that like, you're in a group with your friends and people you know who trust you, and you're all talking about fitness. And so when you're referring certain things to each other, like, you care, right? Because it's like, and that's how I buy a lot of things. Like, I ask, they might not be a professional in the space, right? But like, I'm asking someone, I've just got into rock climbing. Like, I'm asking my friend who's not a professional rock climber, but goes all the time, what rock climbing shoes I should buy, right? So it's like, that is the essence of micro-influencing at a T, right? And how powerful it can be. So.
And the best part is it's not your own product, because like, I'm going to hold this up. So if you're listening, I'm holding up one of the products I sell right now. So I sell this product. And just this morning at the gym, people were asking me about hormone creams. And I was just having the conversation, but because I know this group, this fitness group, I'm not comfortable putting my Amazon link and being like, buy this. I am too nice. I said, hey, I'll bring you all free ones, hoping they would be like, hey, no, actually, let me buy that for you. And I was going to be like, search my keyword. No, just kidding. But, if it were somebody else's product, I would just be dropping your link in the group of like, 45 women on this chat I have, and they'd be buying the cream, probably a high percentage of them. But now here I am like lugging it all to the gym to hand it out for free.
Well, that free strategy is also fantastic, right? Because now maybe you give them all little affiliate links and they promote it to their audience, right? And they start using it. They start using it at the gym. People see it, right? So there's extra strategies even beyond the social promotion. Is sometimes just getting your product in the hands of people who care can be a really effective strategy. Yeah.
We were talking about patience with this and building the relationship. Most Amazon sellers are super impatient, e-commerce sellers in general. What do you tell people when it's like, give it a month, give it 6 months, give it a week?
Yeah, it takes some time, and this varies depending on what the product is. The bottom line, and I think the most logical thing, is some people are like, I want posts in a week. They should be able to do this. And the real reality is like, let's say you're selling actually a similar product to yours, right? Like, you might not see results from that product or be comfortable actually promoting it until you've used it for a few weeks, right? Yes, you could create some content right away, but that's not going to be super authentic. Like, you want to actually see a common example I use is like acne care cream, right? Like, you're not going to cure your acne in 2 days, right? You could promote the product and say like, this is the best acne cream ever, but most people, especially when they have a small follower base, it's very similar to your group chat. It's like, their friends, their family, their close acquaintances. They're not going to promote any product to them. And also, if the product isn't good, we actually have a clause in our system where it's like, please don't promote that, right? Like, we don't want you inauthentically promoting you something you actually really don't like.
Oh, that's great.
So we want that authenticity, and that can take some time. Now, that's not always the case with every single product, right? Like, maybe you have a t-shirt that, or some fashion clothing that like, maybe you want to show this when you're going out, like on the town or going to dinner. And maybe you're not going out for a week, right? But like, you can create content much faster in those capacities. So testing periods are important. Giving people enough time to actually curate also quality content, which everyone can kind of take a basic selfie, but maybe sometimes people want more complicated, in-depth testimonial videos, etc. And those things can take time. And so the one thing Stack Influence and we try to focus on is at least saving you all of the time of the outreach and the negotiation process and setting those timeframes up front to make sure that things get done as quickly as possible while still putting guardrails to allow that quality curation of content to be done. And if you're doing it internally, right, like don't expect the world from these people, like, and expect there to be some delays. And that's why finding the people who are good fits for your product, ideally if you have a large product catalog that you can also repurpose incrementally over time and re-engage with, because sometimes it's hard to find those right people. I mean, we have a community of 600,000 people. We have a database of like 100 million, like, and we've reached out to a huge amount of people, right? So finding the right fit is important, and the people who are actually really engaged and do things properly, because not every person does.
And what if they're not responding to you? Do you drop them?
Yeah, if they don't follow things and don't go along, yeah, they no longer get new product opportunities, right? So like the people who are actually the most engaged get more opportunities, with some also guardrails there. We don't want people to do too many promotions in too short a time frame. And that's something to think about. Because especially for different types of brands, you don't want someone's social feed filled with only product promotions. That's also inauthentic, right? Like it's like you and your group chat, like if you promote your product once or give free product, but then like every week you're telling them to buy this new product, your friends might be like, all right, we don't want to hear it. We're kicking you out of the group chat, right? Like, stop trying to sell us things. So there is a balance of how often you should be doing types of promotions and how frequently.
Yeah, that's super interesting. And does any of this tie into Amazon influencers?
Absolutely. So our first collaborations are done specifically just on social media. So think Instagram promotion, right? Collaboration. Mm-hmm. Now, once you identify how someone performs on social media and how their content performs, a lot of our influencers are part of Amazon's influencer program. And now for those of you who don't know what Amazon's influencer program is, influencer, it's kind of like an evolution of their affiliates program. The big difference is that influencers now get a storefront page. So a page that has a little profile about them, links to their social profiles, and all the different products that they're recommending, and also content they've created about those products. So now a very common thing that we recommend brands do is, and we have some integrations to kind of automate this as well, to get influencers after they create that social content, now repost it if they have that and they're approved for the Amazon influencer program, to repost it onto their storefront. And now they're getting ongoing commissions, honestly, coming out of Amazon's pocket to promote their product across the Amazon ecosystem and on social media. But like a lot of influencers now have a link in bio, they call it, which has like a whole bunch of links, and a lot of them link in their Amazon storefront, so that kind of as they promote, it's an incentive for them to keep doing promotions in the long run. So there's a lot of overlap there, but not every single person part of our community is part of the Amazon Creator Connections program, as they call it.
Yeah, no, but that's cool for Amazon sellers, because it is great when you have an Amazon. I'm in the Amazon influencer program. I've been in it for a couple years. It's really a cool program, but the best part is then the videos go on their product detail pages to help sell.
Absolutely. That's another big advantage.
Yeah, and you get commission as the influencer. And if somebody returns the product, they take it away from you. Like they pull the money back out from you. So it does promote doing honest reviews and promotions, which it sounds like you're doing the same, right? You want to keep it honest and not like
that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Yeah. Another point also in the Amazon ecosystem is the Amazon posts, which also there's overlap with the Amazon influencer program, can get fed into like a post feed. But there's a lot of new evolutions there. Like Amazon's now allowing you to boost posts, so you can kind of run ads with the influencer content that's getting shown on your brand storefront. So there's a lot of cool stuff that is evolving in that ecosystem. We'll see if Amazon actually buys TikTok potentially, but
Yeah, I know. We'll see. Oh, I don't know what you just said, but it made me think of something. So when I was selling my sports and outdoors, my big day was Father's Day. And I was like, every single dad has to open my gift on Father's Day. So, we're in April going into May. So it's like you have opportunity for Mother's Day, graduation, Father's Day. And is Stack a
absolutely.
great place to be running those campaigns?
100%. Yeah. There are certain products in social promotions work at certain times, especially in the product seeding world, where someone's main initial incentive, at least, is to get a free product. Not every time works for them, right? Like if you're selling a beach towel in the middle of winter, right? Some people, like maybe in California and certain things, it's applicable to them. But if you're trying to really scale it up to a wide range of people, like probably promote that in the summer, right? Or if you're
Right.
selling something specifically that's catered, like we've done best mom cups, right? Like maybe Mother's Day is the best time to actually run a promotion for that. Holiday season are one of the best things. What we normally recommend specifically for the Amazon sellers listening is getting actually collaborations going about at least a month before that high holiday. Because first off, you're going to get it. Influencers will be interested in it because it's right around the time that they're going to be gifting it, right? So they're buying the product and they're getting content created right in that time. But you're also driving external traffic like right before your high holiday, where if you can match those up perfectly, where you're now getting shown when there's a huge amount of actual people looking for the keywords that you're actually optimizing for, you hit the perfect storm. So Amazon Prime days, holiday seasons, right? Like all of those things are fantastic times. And some people are just seasonal, right? Just naturally with their products. Like you're selling gardening equipment, like you're not selling anything in the winter. No one's searching for those keywords, at least. So do campaigns during those seasons, because that's when you're going to take full advantage of all of the benefits that are there, and actually be able to scale.
Right. Yeah, no, that is great advice. And I love how you threw it in there that it gives you the boost right before the peak selling season when we're all competing. All the Father's Day gifts, everybody was competing, but I always like to win.
That's the key. That's the goal.
Awesome. Well, William, it's been so awesome to talk to you. Is there anything else we need to cover? Maybe advice for those who are not using micro-influencing yet?
Absolutely. Well, first off, for those who are not using at all and you're on Amazon, absolutely invest in some external traffic strategies. Amazon's prioritized it completely. If you haven't used influencers and want to get involved in them, obviously you can reach out to us at stackinfluence.com. We'd love to help you. But maybe you have a very small budget or you want to get your feet wet before diving into any platform. Totally fine. Recommendation are Amazon's influencer program. You could actually start searching some people there. If you're off Amazon and you want to just kind of dive into some influencers, TikTok has kind of their own little portal to search for some people. These are all free systems. You can also just, if let's say you're on Instagram, start searching people say you sell a health and wellness product. Maybe start searching the hashtag yoga, right? People who are tagging yoga might be interested in health and wellness products. Make assumptions based off of tags people might be using. Start DMing them if they have an email, outreach to them, right? You put it into spreadsheet, Airtable. There's a lot of different softwares now. You can use softwares to automate responding, but negotiate some fees. Try to get people to do a collaboration just for your product if your product is valuable enough, and get your feet wet, right? Like you'll be able to get absolutely 12, 24 types of promotions. It'll take a bit of work, but it'll give you also a great understanding of the value influencers can provide. And the last piece of advice is, if it doesn't work the first time, don't give up. Try to feed them into affiliate funnels, get them to consistently promote, and you'll be surprised. Like sometimes it's the second or the third time that it really just takes off. Social media can be finicky. Like sometimes posts get 1 million views, the next day they get 1,000 views, right? So there can be a gamble to it. And that's why diversifying with smaller creators and being cost effective with the strategy is key. But yeah, that's basically my advice.
Awesome. And I will put the link in the notes of how all of you can check out Stack Influence and maybe get some pricing and see what will be right for your brand. Well, William, it's been such an honor to have you on. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on as well.